Yo, what's good? It's your boy, The Ultimate Rage, back once again with another video. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Make sure that you follow me on all social media platforms at The Ultimate Rage. Make sure you hit that CashApp, $ The Ultimate Rage. I need money, alright? Hook your boy up, you know what I'm saying? We trying to make atheism really make it like spread throughout the world. So I need all the help I can get. We need all the help we can get. Everybody that can play their part, play your part, hook your boy up, help your boy out. Let's make the world a better place. So I want to talk about, in this video, how exactly I became an atheist. Before I do that, I want to explain why I want to talk about it, and overall explain what I'm trying to do, essentially. So this video is going to be a two-parter. It's going to be this video where I explain, how I became an atheist, and then the next video I make is going to be about atheism as it relates to futurism. And so let me just get started. So I was born on the south side of Chicago, born and raised, you know what I'm saying? Like Chi-Town all day, south side all day, Sox over Cubs, deal with it, all right? So the fact is that when you're from a place like here, when you're from an inner city community, what is one thing that they almost all have in common? There are churches everywhere, literally everywhere. Everybody goes to church. That's one of the biggest things that people in our communities do. And despite that fact, our communities just so happen to still be some of the most dangerous in the nation. Funny how that works. Even though we have all this Jesus stuff, it's still dangerous as hell where I'm from. You wouldn't want to come around here like that. I mean, it's really not as bad as people say. But I'm gonna get into it later, you know what I'm saying? So, grew up, my mom was always a Christian. She used to take us to church, every now and then. So I always believed in God. I always believed in theism. Like, it just made sense to me. I always had the idea that there was some kind of God that was out there somewhere watching over me. You feel what I'm saying? So, with that, like, on the flip side, my dad was a computer programmer. So we've had computers my whole life, since I was a youngin'. I still remember when he got the first Gateway 2000. It changed my life. You feel what I'm saying? So I've always been hugely interested in computers and technology and stuff like that. I'll get a little into that later. But the fact of the matter is that I was super into technology, super into video games. And then when I went to high school, I joined the math team. So I went to Jones College Prep, academically one of the best, if not the best high school in the state of Illinois. On the math team, we ran around, kicked all these other teams' asses. And, so I've always been pretty good at math. I'm not great at it. I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm a super genius or anything like that, because I'm definitely not. I never won the top medal at any of these competitions. However, I won plenty of little ribbons and all that type of stuff. We won a lot of competitions. And but despite that, I was never really into science like that. Like, I got a D in chemistry in high school, mostly because I wasn't really interested, and therefore I didn't try hard enough to actually try to understand it. So I didn't do too well, and I wasn't too happy with that. And so that's important because, shortly thereafter, at age 16, I became a Christian. My mom had recently, joined this church. I don't really want to say their name because fuck them in all churches, honestly. But I joined this church, and my mom joined this church, and then she brought me, my brother, and my sister to the church. And you know how they do the altar call. They were super coercive. Come on. What do you have to lose? What do you have to? Just come on. Look, I'll walk with you. Like, they're very, very determined to get you in there. I mean, that's literally what MLMs do to try to get people in. They don't tell you what they're getting you involved in. you get there, even though with churches, you know what you're getting involved in. So there's really no excuse for church. But MLMs, they don't tell you what you're getting involved in. They try to coerce you to show up to this thing, but they're not going to tell you exactly what it is. And then when you get there, it's, oh, look at all this awesomeness. Now come and join us. And then they use the same tactics. Church is literally the oldest MLM of all time. So anyway, so I joined, and I really tried to take it seriously. Like I joined the rap ministry at the church. We were going around performing. We were performing at the church. We performed at different churches in the city, mostly on the south side. We went on a mission trip to Philly in 2004. And on this mission trip, first of all, like, I had to raise money to go because I didn't have no money, and it required a nice amount of money. But even on the trip, I was broke as hell. But more importantly, I learned that despite the fact that we were all doing this for Jesus, everybody was still people. People were still people. People still treat you like you're weird if they think you're weird. They still treat you like you're cool if they think you're cool. And everything like that, you know what I'm saying? So there's really nothing different from being in church and everything like that. So with that being said, I went to college in 2004 as well. And you know, the college I went to is a very, very heavily Christian college in Michigan. And basically, like, I really went there because I truly wanted to believe in Jesus. I wanted to further my relationship with Christ and become one with God. I wanted to understand theology. I wanted to understand everything. I want to understand the world, the universe, why we're here, why Jesus needs us to do his bidding and all this stuff. Like, isn't that like why you're a Christian? Because you want to know? But at the same time, though, while I was attending this school, I developed an interest in philosophy because I'm a very thoughtful person. I'm super into just understanding. I've always been a very analytical person. That's why I was into math. That's why I'm into computers. And that's why I was into philosophy. And I bring that up because I took a class called Logic, which I think was a huge, huge influence in me eventually becoming an atheist, because the skills you learn, the most important skill you learn from Logic is organizing your thoughts, or organizing your argument, trying to be as concise and efficient as possible so that what you are saying is salient and sound. And I feel like the fact of that really like impacted just the way I think, the way that I act, because I try to be as logical and efficient as possible, from the smallest things to the biggest things. Even with how I go about maybe cooking food or something like that, I'm trying to be as efficient as possible. I don't want to make moves that don't contribute to accomplishing my goal. If I can cut the fat here, if I can cut that out over there, then I can be as quick and efficient as possible, and I can do the things that I need to do without wasting as much time as, you know, a lot of people do. So anyway, while I was at this church, while I was at the school, I was, you know, like I said, I took philosophy, but I was also like going to church, going to chapel. I was doing volunteer work of all different kinds, whether it was, you know, watching kids at the church, or if I was helping to paint houses for Hurricane Katrina victims who left Louisiana and came to Michigan. I was doing all types of stuff. But I was doing it with the idea that I was serving a purpose for Jesus. You know how that should go. So, a little after that, well, actually, before I get to the next point, I wanted to say that throughout this time, every now and then, I would have an encounter with an atheist. I still go back to high school. Shout out my boy Ken Yip Lai. I remember distinctly, like, I will never forget, like, for me, maybe this ain't the same for other atheists who've been former believers, but I distinctly remember a conversation that me and Ken had on the train one day, on the red line. I was on my way home. And like we were having a conversation about, the Bible and stuff like that. He's trying to tell me like, yo, bro, this big ass like ark that Noah supposedly took all these animals on. If it was really that big, then why haven't we found it? And you know me, like I'm one of those theists. I have to make an apologist argument of some kind to counteract what he's saying because Jesus is real. You know what I'm saying? So I said some religious theistic bullshit, and he was just like, "Bro, come on, man! Like, there's no way that da da da." And like in the back of my mind, I'm like, "Damn, he's actually making sense to me," but I can't just acknowledge that. I can't say that because it's all about Jesus. And Jesus said that there would be these people that would try to throw you off of believing in Jesus. You feel what I'm saying? So that's the mentality I have. And so so there's that incident. But in college, during my junior year, I want to say, first, the summer of 2007, which was the summer after my junior year. I'm sorry. All right, so let me go back. So during my junior year, a random atheist sent me a list of 48 questions that were just like, yo, how could this happen? How could that happen? How could this be true? How could that be true? And this passage says this. How could it, all that type of stuff. So I'm literally like, as a theist, I'm like, well, actually, this is a good thing because as a Christian, it's going to force me to have to understand my Bible and really be able to answer his questions. So, I'm going through, I'm giving him all the theistic explanations. You know how it goes. Oh, well, God created the universe because of this, and light existed because of this, and blah, 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 all the stupid shit that a theist would say. But then it got to my favorite passage in the Bible, the passage that I always bring up to Christians because it's the passage that convinced me that this is kind of crazy. The passage I bring up all the time, 1 Samuel 15, God commanding Saul to commit an act of genocide against the Amalekites, but he specifically instructs Saul to kill every child and baby. I simply just couldn't justify it. When I reached it, because I read the Bible in its entirety. Me and my family have read the whole Bible. Like, there's a daily Bible where it's like you read a certain portion of the Old Testament, a certain portion of the New Testament, certain portion of Numbers, Psalms and Proverbs. So every day you're going to read a little bit of the Old Testament, a little bit of New Testament, a little bit of Psalms, a little bit of Proverbs. Me and my whole family did this, right? But I still didn't realize that this passage was in there. We read the whole Bible, but the Bible's so boring that you can skip over stuff and it doesn't even click, especially because we were reading the King James version. So like, it's really boring. You skip over shit like that because it's just like, and thou hast said that if with the hitherto, all that stupid shit. You know what I'm saying? All that old English ass shit. So you skip over a lot of that type of stuff because the language is not what we're used to. But when you read the NIV version or the New American Standard or any of these other newer versions, it's in plain English. Like, yo, he said, kill these kids, kill these babies. And I can't, as a person who I feel like I'm a decently moral person, I just can't see any real justification as to why God, we're not talking about some guy named God. We're talking about the literal, supposed alleged creator of the universe would create people who are not his people. He would create all these people, but only this certain subsection of people are not his people. Are his people. This certain subsection are his people. All the rest of them are not. And so he's going to command this small subsection of people to go and kill all these motherfuckers and kill children and babies. Why would God do that? You mean to tell me that God himself couldn't come up with a better explanation, a better tactic than killing babies? He couldn't just say, hey, grab them and indoctrinate them. Because Parents love to indoctrinate their kids with religion, so why couldn't they have just adopted these kids and indoctrinated them? And then people say, well, because, you know, they would have grown up and rebelled and did it. Like, how do you know that? How do you know that? And what evidence do you have to justify that? Anyway, so I just couldn't justify it, and that really sowed the seed of doubt in me that, like, this just can't make sense. It can't. Why would God do that? I wouldn't do that, and I'm just a regular guy. So why would God do that? The most intelligent, powerful entity of all the things that he could have done, why would he let that strategy, that tactic? Like, that's just, there's no way you could say that he's merciful and kills kids. Like, that just doesn't make sense to me. So after that, so the summer after my junior year, I was working at FedEx out in Wheeling, Illinois, and I was walking to the bus stop one night going to work, and ironically, I was robbed at gunpoint in front of a church down the street from my house. So, fortunately, I left with my life. They just took my little weak-ass wallet, my watch that I bought from my boy from college, and my White Sox lighter that my boy just had gave me like a year prior for my birthday. But I escaped with my life. Most theists would be like, well, praise God. Praise God. Right? Like, they didn't kill you. But for me, it was the exact opposite. It was like, why would they not kill me, but so many other people have been through the same scenario and they've died? I mean, how many stories have we heard of people who lost their life in a robbery going wrong? You know what I'm saying? Like, even celebrities that shit happens to. You feel what I'm saying? Like, athletes and former athletes and stuff get killed in the midst of a robbery that goes wrong. Why would I, of all people, be spared, but not them? Especially considering the fact that I would eventually become an atheist. You feel what I'm saying? So, by my senior year, I had a conversation with my roommate, Matt. And so, even after becoming a Christian at 16, the problem of evil and the unfairness of hell have always stuck with me. It's like, okay, I get all this stuff, but like, why do bad things happen to good people? Why do good things happen for bad people? Why would, why would somebody who didn't do anything to anybody suffer a terrible, tragic fate? You know what I'm saying? We see all these stories every day, every month, every year. Horrible tragedies that happen to good people all the time. Yet, we see all these horrible people who get promotions, they get positions of power, they gain wealth, status, all this type of stuff. And it's like, they're pieces of shit. What kind of world would God create? Why would God create a world where this was even possible? If everything was so good. You feel what I'm saying? So, those type of things were just always problems for me. So, so I had this conversation with my roommate, and at the time he was a theist too. Fortunately, he's actually dropped his religion as well. We're both atheists now. But at the time, I was telling him like, yo, I just can't reconcile the concept of hell. I just can't do it. Like, if God knows that you're gonna do these things, why would he punish you for that? He made you specifically to do that, right? If he's so, omniscient that he knows that when he creates you that you're going to be a psychopathic murderer, you're going to kill 20 people. So why would he send you to hell yet create you to be like that? Isn't that unfair? And so one thing my roommate said to me was like, well, if you don't believe in the concept of hell, you ain't a Christian. And when he said that, I was like, oh shit, maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm actually not a Christian. That was a huge epiphany for me, because it was the first time I even considered the possibility that a religion could be wrong. And that's one of the issues that I have with a lot of theists, their inability to even admit that they could even possibly be wrong. You feel what I'm saying? And that's why it's so dangerous, because they coerce you into adopting this mindset that you have to cling to the religion no matter what. You cannot doubt. You can't even think to doubt. If you have a single shred of doubt, you're a piece of shit, and you might as well not even be a Christian or whatever religion. And it's like, it's so dangerous. Like, if you have the truth, if you have the actual literal truth, you should welcome scrutiny. You should welcome doubt, because it gives you an opportunity to display your truth and be like, bam, got him. How you gonna argue against that? I just laid out everything to you. It's the truth. Bam. And so, once I realized that I wasn't a Christian, once I realized that, like, I just can't rock with this nonsense, it just set me on the path of, like, trying to figure things out. You know what I'm saying? And, so that's when I discovered a lot of, you know, the atheist leaders, you know, like the highly renowned, you know, the Richard Dawkins, the Sam Harrises, the Christopher Hitchens, Daniel Dennett's, the Seth Andrews, the Matt Dillahunties, and, you know, even like the Amazing Atheists on YouTube, and Bill Maher, of all people. I used to actually be a huge fan of Bill Maher. I used to watch Real Time with Bill Maher every Friday, faithfully, every single Friday. I was a staunch Democrat and all that type of stuff too, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, I'll get into that in another video. But for the most part, I pretty much, by the time I was 22, and you know, because I did an extra year in college, well, an extra semester. By the time I was 22 and finished college, I finally adopted atheism, full throttle, through and through. So at this point in time, it just trips me out how, like, it's 2021. I'm living in the city of Chicago. Everybody knows about how fucked up Chicago is. The whole world knows how fucked up Chicago is. And because of that, it's like, how can you still live in the city like this and believe in Jesus? Like I said, the neighborhood I'm in is one of the worst. It's called Auburn Gresham. It's one. Look it up. Just look it up. It's one of the worst neighborhoods in the entire city. You know what I'm saying? Not far from, you know, any of these other neighborhoods that you've heard of. You know, the Inglewoods is not far from here. Literally a few blocks that way. You know what I'm saying? All types of shit. So like, you know, my mom is a police dispatcher in Chicago. That means all the stories you hear about, that you've heard about, the shooting that just happened with the cop that died, the lady cop that died the other day, my mom was at work when that shit was happening. She was right there as it was all happening. All these stories, and stories you don't hear about, she gets them in real time while they're happening, while somebody just got shot, and oh my God, they shot my brother, or somebody commits suicide. Oh my God, my son he's hanging in this room. She gets all of that shit every day. My mom hates her job. She can't stand her job. She wants to retire early because she's literally sick of this shit. But even with all of that, she's still a Christian. And I'm like, Mom, I mean, I never talk to my mom about this stuff, because you know how it is with things like that. It's just, you're just not gonna have a conversation with them like that. But like in my mind, I'm like, Mom, like if Jesus was real, your job would not exist. They would not need emergency dispatchers if all you needed to do was pray. My sister, she's a teacher. One of her students was murdered down the street from her house. Murdered. A young, innocent girl, 15. So full of life. Murdered in a drive-by. And yet my sister is still a believer in Jesus. Where was Jesus for this young, poor little girl? This young 15-year-old who barely lived life. Already less than half my age, and she didn't even get to experience shit. I can't even imagine losing my life at 15. That's absurd. Like, this is Chicago. People get murdered left and right. I know murderers personally. You know what I'm saying? If you're from a city like Chicago, you know murderers, you know thieves, you know what I'm saying? You know snake-ass people. You just know, a bunch of shady-ass people just because that's what the city is full of. Our city is full of people who are traumatized, who need help, who are suffering very deep mental disorders and stuff, and they need assistance. You feel what I'm saying? We have extreme poverty. We have a lot of deep issues politically. It's so much ridiculousness. And so, for me, the reason why I push atheism so much is because if we want to create a better society, we want to create a better world for ourselves, a better city for Chicago, it starts with acknowledging reality. We have to root ourselves in the reality of real, true reality. There is no way that y'all can still sit here and exclaim Jesus to be the Savior when every damn week, every weekend, shootings, people dying, crime, people losing their lives, property, people out here stealing cars and shit. People getting robbed at gunpoint. People getting raped and molested and all types of horrific shit. Just around here. I could go to the sex offender registry and I guarantee you in my zip code, it's going to be all type of niggas in this vicinity that are registered sex offenders. Jesus ain't saving none of those kids from them. So, let's stop the cap. Stop with the cap. Jesus ain't gonna save you. You really want to put it to the test? Jump off a bridge. Jump off a mountain. Shoot yourself in the dome with a shotgun. Do all types of shit. And I want you to survive unscathed. Unscathed. I mean, literally not a scratch. Not a broken bone. Not a paper cut on you. Literally jumping out of... Be like those Afghanis hanging off that airplane. Fall hundreds of feet to the ground and get up without a single scratch on you because of the power of Jesus. And then maybe you might convince me a little bit. But until then, I'm not trying to hear none of this garbage. Jesus, Allah, none of these fools are going to save you. Only we can save ourselves and each other. Using logic, reason, and evidence-based science. That's all we got. All we got is practicality. It's not going to happen by magic. We're not going to fix the world through prayer. Prayer ain't going to do shit. It has never done shit. It never will do shit. So let's stop. Let's move on to something more useful, something more practical, something that's actually going to help us improve our society. All right? So, with that being said, make sure that you hit that like and subscribe button. Hit that follow on all my social media platforms. At The Ultimate Rage. Follow me. Follow your boy, all right? I might follow you back if you showing me some love. You feel what I'm saying? Make sure you hit that Cash App, $ the Ultimate Rage. You feel what I'm saying? Hook me up with some money. Allow me to do this thing for a living so we can actually help create a better world for ourselves. And make sure you hit that Star EP on Spotify by my boy Joey P. I helped him put it together, help make a little beat and everything. I even got a little cameo on one of the songs and everything. Joey P. Star EP. Joey P. Star EP. Spotify. Apple Music. Check that out. And be on the lookout for your boy Outrageous coming soon, August 30th. Be on the lookout, baby. Holla at your boy. Peace.